Beyond Emissions Podcast by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Welcome back to the Beyond Emissions Podcast. I'm your host and also energy storage manager here at Soligent, Josh Brumm. Welcome to the Beyond Emissions Podcast. At the Soligent YouTube channel, like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can find out when our next episode is. Also as well, comment down below so you can be a part of this ongoing conversation about creating this world that is beyond emissions. That's what you, I, and our teams are doing every single day, our customers even. We're all a part of this mission of creating an emissions-free future in this renewable energy business that we are in. So appreciate you joining us here on the program today. Click down below if you'd like to be a Soligent dealer and have access to all of the awesome programs that we have available, supplies, materials, vendors, experts from around the world coming on the program every single week. And a good friend of mine is joining us here in just a moment on the Soligent Beyond Emissions podcast. Rodolfo Garza from Simpliphi Power, Briggs and Stratton, joining us on the show today to talk about Simpliphi Power and Briggs and Stratton energy storage solutions that are available right here at Soligent. Super excited. Now, Brian Taylor from Simpliphi Power was set up. The last three episodes, we were broadcasting live from 1790 Bell Avenue, Suite 125, for our grand opening of our Sacramento Soligent warehouse that we had back on May 18th. The day went long, and I wasn't able to get Brian Taylor from Simpliphi on the show. So, Brian, thank you so much, though, for your support, being there for our customers, and just appreciate it so much. Thank you, Brian Taylor from Simpliphi Power. But my friend, who I've been working with in the energy storage business for several years now, on hundreds of projects, helping people go to a beyond emissions world for themselves, using Simpliphi Power. That's PHI. Simpliphi Power Energy Storage Solutions. Rodolfo Garza and I have been working together, and just so glad to have him here on the program today. Welcome to the show. Before we introduce Rodolfo, I've got to ask you this question. You tune in every single week. Answer this yourself or down in the comment section or at the Soligent LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram pages. We'd love to have this conversation. What does a beyond emissions world mean for you? Let us know. And also as well, Rodolfo Garza, welcome to the Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent from Simpliphi Power, Briggs and Stratton. So glad to have you here, Rodolfo. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Josh, how you doing? I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you for inviting me to your program.
Oh, so glad that you're here. And like I said a moment ago, just excited. Brian Taylor was out at our awesome grand opening in Sacramento. And thanks again to you and your entire Simpliphi Power and Briggs and Stratton team for your support, being out there, helping us with the customers, educating people, especially under NEM3 in California. So we're going to go into a lot of subjects today. NEM3 and energy storage solutions from Soligent, as an example, Simpliphi Power Solutions specifically today. Excited that we can talk about that and so much more. Now, you heard me ask the audience, Rodolfo, what does a world that is beyond emissions mean to you? I ask them every show. So for you, Rodolfo, what does a world that is beyond emissions mean for you?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good question, Josh. I mean, when we think about just emissions, I mean, we think about, like contamination emissions that comes from a lot of the industry and transportation and different factors that create these emissions. So I think we are in the right market, the right segment to fight against growing emissions. So, I mean, we are on a green space with renewable energy, renewable power that is going to just help the environment and reduce emissions and just make a better, cleaner world for ourselves and our kids and next generations.
That's right. That's right. It's not all about the here and now. It's about the future, right?
That is correct. Yeah, I mean, we get to a point that, I mean, just the world has been growing so much. There's just so much industry, and I mean, everybody just looking ahead without thinking about, environment. And I know that could be like a tricky subject for some people, but I mean, we are in this industry for a reason, and I mean, the renewable power, I think that's where we need to concentrate.
Right. And energy storage, when this whole solar revolution kicked off a couple decades ago, again, Soligent, Beyond Emissions podcast, brought to you by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. And today we've got Rodolfo Garza from Simpliphi Power. Click on the link below. Be a Simpliphi Power dealer through Soligent today. When the revolution of solar started a few decades back, Rodolfo, energy storage was relegated to what? Mostly just off-grid systems, lead acid. A lot of changes since then. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, initially when solar came up, that was people living off-grid, that they need a way to access to power energy. So you initially only had one option at the beginning. That was having like the generators, just burning some fuels, diesel, gasoline, and later on, solar power came on, and people had a few smaller systems with a few panels, but not really batteries at the beginning. And then when they added batteries, lead acid was the battery of choice. I mean, that was a product was easily available. It was low cost. Other technologies that was hard to get, really expensive. But I think a lot has changed from the old days. Nowadays, better technologies, better product. Lithium ion now it's on top of the game. There's a lot of good solutions. Pricing has dropped down. So there's a lot of new applications for energy storage now. Not just off grid, even for the grid type system. People can have backup power on their homes. They can have cost savings with having a battery bank. They can have energy independence. There's a lot of benefits now having an energy storage solution.
I like how you said that. There is a lot of different types of customers or scenarios where energy storage makes sense. I got a note in the mail, a little flyer advertisement the other day, and it said, our battery will give you whole house backup. And then I look at it and it's like 10 kilowatt hours of battery. Now, I don't know about you, but whole house backup means all year long, which is why you cannot use averages to size energy storage. You have to use max kilowatt hours of usable energy that the customer needs available on a max use day. It's not the same as sizing regular grid tie solar. It's different. You have to use max kilowatt hours of usable energy needed on a max use day. Whether it's off grid, whole house backup, emergency load, or just offsetting X amount of kilowatt hours a day to get ROI for your solar system or under NEM3, regardless of what the goal is, we need to know what that kilowatt hour number is, and it can't be based on an average because that advertisement was not accurate. 10 kilowatt hours will not back up someone's entire home in July or August when that 4,000 watt air conditioner is running a total of 10 to 12 hours a day. I mean, at 10 hours of total runtime a day when it's 105 out in the Central California area where I live as an example, or some other hot areas of the country, that's 40 kilowatt hours on top of the average daily consumption. And so, giving realistic expectations, it's important to customize. And I think that's really where Simpliphi and Briggs and Stratton's strength lies, right? I mean, go into that a little bit. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct. I mean, every situation is different. Every household has its own consumption. So you need to look at case by case. I mean, it's hard to have like a all-in-one solution that's going to fit every user out there. I mean, you can create a package that is going to fit some people specific way, but other people it's going to be just a portion of what their consumption is. And you said 10 kilowatt hours. I mean, that's probably a size you want to use for having some critical loads to be backed up. But if you have somebody looking for whole home backup, yeah, you need to take a look at what is the maximum power consumption during the day, how much power they need at a given time, how much energy they're consuming, not just on a given day of the year, but you need to take a look at the whole year consumption and look at the worst case scenario. Are they using more energy in the winter, on the summer? So it depends what the customer is looking for. If they're looking for a whole home backup, you need to take a look at the whole year and look at the worst case. You size the system so it can provide enough power and energy on the worst case, and then they are covered for any day of the year. Not some days you are and some days you're not.
That's it. That's it. It's not as, I mean, it is simple, hence the name Simplify. It is simple because it's all math, right, Rodolfo? It's energy in versus energy out. But it's not as simple as, hey, here's a battery, plug it into a house. Now you have whole house backup. Get rid of the utility. It's magic. We both know it doesn't work that way, right? Here, hold on just a moment. Let me get my magic wand out. I have it here. Hold on just a moment. I think I have it. Just a sec. Is this it?
The Brummster.
No, that's my nickname. Hold on just a second. Ah, there we go. The magic wand. Yeah, companies are doing that, and they're doing their customers a disservice. Hold on a second. I've got a 10 kilowatt hour battery that'll back up your whole house. Magic. It doesn't work that way. It's energy in versus energy out. And, you know, load evaluation is key, right? What are some of the key questions to find out what type of customer, whether it's emergency load battery backup and ROI, or just ROI and offsetting kilowatt hours to get an ROI for the PV array under NEM3, or it's whole house backup? What are some of the key questions that solar companies and salespeople should be asking their customers to determine which bucket or type of customer they are? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so when we talk to customers, and that's something, I mean, we have continuous dialogue with customers, with the Soligent team, with the sales team. We always tag team on every situation. We talk to installers, homeowners, to find what they need. So, yeah, there's a lot of key questions to define what they're looking for. So are they looking to have a whole home backup system? Do they want to be grid independent? Or do they want a smaller system that is going to cover some critical load during a power outage? So you can size the system to cover a whole home loads and requirements to kind of give you some energy independence from the grid. So then you know you're going to size the system to every single load in the house for every day of the year. If they need something smaller that is going to cover some critical loads, they want to have a battery backup system when they have a power outage, and they can, plug the AC, refrigerator, some loads that they need if there's a power outage. You can size it accordingly. So one of the questions is, okay, what are the loads you want to back up? What are the loads you want to support by your battery system? And then for how many hours do you want to have a battery system that's going to cover a whole day requirements? Or you want a battery that's going to give you some energy for 6 hours if you have a power outage? So you need to know, okay, what are the loads? What is the time? Do you want to do whole home, some critical loads? And you can start from there to start to sizing power and energy.
Yeah. And another way, folks, you can, and by the way, Rodolfo Garza, this guy is awesome from Simplify Power, Briggs and Stratton. Become a dealer with us here at Soligent today and have access to the Simplify Power Briggs and Stratton energy storage solutions. Click on the link below to find out more. Thank you so much for being here, Rodolfo. You're absolutely right. You've got to find out what you want to run and how long you want to run it for. Do you know how big the gas tank needs to be if you need to drive without stopping from LA to New York? No, but you have to figure out the miles, how much gas that will take, and then you build a tank for that. This is an energy tank, a gas tank, if you will, for your home, using, of course, clean energy. I mean, that's the difference, but the analogy is the same, and you need to think of it like that. So, you don't know until you size and design the size of the energy tank based on what you want to run and how long you want to run it for. Which equates to how many kilowatt hours of usable energy that you need in a max use day. And there's a couple ways of looking at it. And thanks again, Rodolfo. I so appreciate your expertise and sharing with us here today on the Beyond Emissions by Soligent podcast. The way I like to look at it is this. Okay, so if you're looking just to do, some basic offset every day to get ROI under your solar, because you can't sell back your excess PV array produced energy to the utility and get a real return on investment at like 8 cents a kilowatt hour under NEM3. It's not happening. You got to have storage. But maybe in this scenario, you don't necessarily you don't have a lot of outages. Maybe you don't need battery backup as your primary function of the battery. Maybe you get a smaller battery just to store some of that excess PV array produced energy, not sell it back and self-consume it, say, at night when the sun is not shining. And maybe that's, 10, 15 kilowatt hours, but you've still got to figure out what that is. And generally speaking, what I like to do is figure out, okay, your PV array has been sized for your average daily usage. And that's just mainly for this scenario, by the way. This does not apply to whole home backup or off-grid. We'll go into that in a moment, right, Rodolfo? It's a different animal. But you figure out what is your average daily kilowatt hour usage. That's what your PV array is probably sized for, to offset, right? And maybe not always. Again, this could change. You might have a smaller PV array just for a partial offset and not be looking for a full offset. But in this example, figure out what your average daily kilowatt hour usage is. And then figure out what are your daytime kilowatt hours used when the sun is shining. In other words, when you're not at home, you're at school or work or what have you, you're still consuming energy with your fridge, your deep freezers, the stuff that's on in the home every day. Or maybe you're working at home in an office, but what are the kilowatt hours used in the daytime while that PV array is producing and you're consuming some of it, not having to sell it back? You're consuming it while the sun is shining, right, Rodolfo?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I mean, you're producing more solar energy like during midday, and as you said, a lot of people are at work, kids are at school. So a lot of that energy, with NEM2, that's energy you're selling back to the grid. Not that energy, you don't really get that one-to-one energy back. So the advantage of having a battery in your system is you can store that energy and then you can use it on the evening. When you come back to home, kids are watching TV, using their computer, you have the AC on. So you kick the battery and all the energy you store during the day, that's the time you want to use it. And you can have the time of use feature activated.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, now there is a lot of different allocations where you have different fees for electricity at different times of the day. So, in the old days, it was a flat fee to the whole day. So now you have, a fee from midnight to 4 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 9. The price of electricity doubles. So that's when you want to discharge the battery and use the energy you store. When the electric company is going to charge you a higher fee, so you don't take energy from the grid. You use the energy you store during the day, and then you use it for your load when the price of the energy is high, and then you can recharge the battery back at night or the next day when the electricity is cheap.
Yes, exactly. And now let's go back to what I was talking about. Well, how big does that battery need to be? A lot of companies out there, like the magical solution I talked about a little bit ago, automatically just say 10 kilowatt hours or this will do it. You don't know that. So that might be 20 or 30 for someone for nighttime loads that they want to discharge to not have to buy that from the utility. And so the best bet is figuring out your average daily kilowatt hour usage, what your PV array is going to produce every day. That's what your PV array is generally sized for to offset. And then figure out your daytime kilowatt hours that are consumed during the day when the sun is shining. And a lot of that PV is producing and going to those loads, right? And then everything in excess that's left over that you no longer want to sell back, that's what we want to build the battery for. So let's just say, for the heck of it, let me get out my calculator just to give an example for you. Follow along, folks, if you'd like. Let's assume that your average daily kilowatt hours used is 20 kilowatt hours. I mean, I'm just making this up. And so you've got a what would that be? A 4 kW PV array. Yeah, 20 divided by 5 hours of peak sun is a 4 kW PV array. So let's say you've got a 4 kW PV array designed for your customer to offset their 20 kilowatt hours a day that they use on average. Now let's assume that out of that 20 kilowatt hours a day, let's assume, and again, this is different for every customer. You guys, you gals that work in the solar business need to figure this out and tell us, and we'll do the math and help you. But let's assume out of that 20 kilowatt hours a day your customer is using on average, that during the daytime when the sun is shining and the PV array is producing and feeding the loads in the home, not sending it back, let's assume that 8 kilowatt hours of that is consumed during the day when the sun is shining, daytime loads. Again, I'm just making this up. This could be different for different customers. This is just to show the math. So take your 20 kilowatt hours of average consumption minus the 8 kilowatt hours a day that are being fed by the PV array when the sun is shining, when no one's at home. That leaves 12 kilowatt hours a day that under NEM2 and NEM1, the old regime, would normally be sent back to the utility. We don't want to do that at 8 cents a kilowatt hour. The ROI is not there. We want to keep that 12 kilowatt hours and self-consume it. But Rodolfo, we don't want to have the battery be discharged at 100% depth of discharge, although it can, but we want to get max life cycles. So I recommend 80% depth of discharge. So take the 12 kilowatt hours a day that we now need to store instead of selling back and divide that by 0.8. That increases that by 20%. So the battery is now going to discharge no deeper than 80% depth of discharge per our math. That equals 15 kilowatt hours of total storage that we need. Now for this example, what would we use? Well, heck, you could do 4 of the 3.8 kilowatt hour Simpliphi power batteries for 15.2 kilowatt hours of total storage. Or you could do 3 of the 4.9 kilowatt hour Briggs and Stratton Simpliphi power batteries. And that would basically provide that offset. And the cool part about this is if you determine for your customer down the road, and a year later, like, holy smokes, we've still got a bill. I think we need more than 15 kilowatt hours. Our math was wrong. Oh, someone else moved in and there's more being consumed. Whatever the reason is, you can expand on and add more batteries. But that's pretty much how I'm going about helping people figure out the math of what size that battery needs to be to offset those additional kilowatt hours instead of selling them back. Does that make sense? Talk a little bit about that, Rodolfo.
Yeah, I think you simplified it very well, Josh. That's just the basic math. If you want to have a system that is going to offset the energy used through the day. So as you mentioned, one advantage of our system is our batteries are very modular. So they can be sized and scaled to meet both power and energy, and you can always add more as needed. So you don't get locked into a battery size that you select at the beginning. You can always go back and add more batteries if you increase your loads. If you have more requirements, somebody's moving in, you add in an EV charging station, you can go back and add more batteries to the system. So, that was a pretty good basic math, and and that'll give you an idea of what you need to do to size the system.
It goes to show that the wrong way of doing this is just, 10 kilowatt hours, 15 kilowatt hours, 20 kilowatt hours. Here it is. This is our plan. This is what will work for you. If we don't know that, it's different for everyone. Everyone's number is different. Rodolfo, you and I have been in this business for quite a while, and we've seen it a million times when people get promised or sold something from a one-size-fits-all, company that's selling it the wrong way. And we've had to come in and mop up and clean up their mess a lot, right? Talk about that.
Yeah, I know that's correct. Yeah, there's a lot of companies that they are not transparent and they don't give the information upfront to their customers or the end user. Yeah, they use, as you said, they advertise, we have the battery that's going to solve your energy problem. So it's a 10 kilowatt hour battery. You put one in and you're good to go. And later on, customers find out that, yeah, they still have a big electricity bill. They have a power outage and the battery only lasted half the time and they were not covered. So yeah, I mean, as you said, every household is different, and you can also extend that to bigger systems, commercial, industrial systems that are much, much larger than that. And that gets a little bit trickier, but yeah, we can still provide energy solutions for commercial installations that they're looking maybe different options. Maybe they want to look at peak shaving. They have pretty high electric bill because they have very high peaks of energy consumption. Then you can reduce by adding a battery system that can share the loads between the grid and the battery, and they work together to reduce how much you're paying on a monthly basis.
Ooh, commercial industrial, peak shaving, mitigating demand charges, the cost of demand charges from the utility, especially businesses that are operating 24/7. Their demand charges are insane. And when you consider the investment of a properly sized energy storage system with the functionality that you're talking about that can come in and shave those peaks off and come in and discharge the batteries at the right time, really eliminating or mitigating a lot of those demand charge costs, but really eliminating a lot of them. Not just, offsetting some of them, but if we have 15-minute interval data from a customer, what can we do with that? Or, how do we go about figuring out the right size battery system on a scale like that for a customer that's trying to avoid those demand charges? How do we figure out the right size? We did it on a small scale right now for offsetting evening usage based on what the battery size needs to be, and we ran through the math there. But is that how we do that with 15-minute interval data? Or, how is that accomplished? I know you and your team are doing this all the time. So thanks again, Rodolfo.
Yeah, I think as you said, that's what we need. We need to look at power consumption at different intervals. It could be 15 minutes intervals or even smaller than that. And you need to be a little bit more granular when it comes to commercial systems and try to understand what the customer is looking for. Do they are looking to reduce demand charges? And then you want to size the system that is going to meet those peaks at different times of the day. So you compensate with a new battery system that is going to be adding a power source to the loads, so you can combine how much power is coming from the grid and how much power is coming from the battery. So you're reducing those demands from the grid. And yeah, for commercial systems, sometimes, the return on investment is much better for residential because you got to pay out right away.
Yeah, I went to a 24/7 operation in Fresno, California, maybe 5 years ago. They did like tomato sauce and food processing, stuff like that. And they had to shut down their operation a few hours a day, not because their equipment was breaking or they didn't have employees to cover the shifts. It was because of demand charges, Rodolfo. Oh my God. The thousands of dollars, a day or a month. I think it was like $1 million in a month. This guy showed me a bill that he was getting charged. Off the chains, dude. That makes a battery system, with the functionality of the right inverters, et cetera. That makes a properly sized energy storage solution really advantageous. It doesn't even cost anything when you think about what they're getting. They're going to have to pay that to the utility. They might as well pay it to themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some situations, operations, they work 24/7 and they have a power outage for, 6 hours, and they got, people just sitting on the line just waiting for power to come back, and they have product on the line, and they have refrigerators. So, having a battery system, it gets really, really critical for those type of systems. And yeah, we have a separate team that works on commercial systems. So yeah, you can always reach out to us through your Soligent rep, and we'll be happy to work on commercial system designs. We have a high voltage solution that we can make it right for your specific application.
Yep. You can get it from Soligent. Click on the link below. Simplify Power, Briggs and Stratton commercial industrial solutions in addition to your residential and NEM3 solutions available at Soligent. Click on the link below to find out more, folks. It's amazing. Okay, we promised them this. Real quick, hold on just a second. Again, folks, can we just, rely on the good old-fashioned, I've got this one-size-fits-all system. Hold on, let me get out my magic wand. No, energy storage doesn't work that way. It's energy in versus energy out. It's all about the math. And if you're not embracing that, you're ripping people off. I just want you to know that, okay? If you want help with the math, don't be afraid. Reach out to us today, storage@soligent.net. I'm Josh Brumm, Energy Storage Manager here at Soligent. I'm happy to give a training for your team. So is Rodolfo and their team to do a full training for you and your entire team to become successful at selling energy storage solutions that actually work, because it does not work well for you or your reputation if you just fall under the trap of the quick sale strategy that everyone else falls into. You're going to be selling a lot of people the wrong stuff. As an example, but we're going to talk about off-grid in just a moment. And thanks again. NEM3 we talked about, battery backup, sizing, equations, commercial, industrial. Briggs and Stratton, Simplify Power, Rodolfo Garza here with us today on the Beyond Emissions podcast. But when it comes to energy storage, it's important that you understand everything is customizable. Everything, all of it. And we've had several situations in our past. We talk about mopping up other people's messes who are doing it the wrong way. Just one size fits all, magic solution. Here you go, quick sale. And that's their strategy. They make a lot of money really, really quick. But, I'll give you a story. Rodolfo, tell me if you've heard this before in your travels in the renewable energy business. I used to go out and visit people when I worked at a previous battery company. And I would go out and visit people because we had some radio ads from a show that I was doing a podcast like this on the air. And so they would call me and I'd come out and talk to them about adding batteries. And they would show me a Tesla system that they got sold to power their whole house like magic, 5 or 6 years earlier. And now their inverter was broken. It wasn't working. No one was calling them. The salesperson, they're not battery experts. They're not. You can be if you want to work with us here at Soligent, Simplify Power, etc. Again, we will get you up to speed and give you the one-on-one training so you can be an expert, but you have to embrace the truth here. This is not a quick, one-time, sale down the road, boom, quick instant gratification. That's not the strategy here. It's all about customization, personalization. What's the math? What's the energy in versus energy out, and customize a solution for each customer. But I would go out there and one after another. Tesla was the real first early adopter that got everyone to think that there was this one size magical solution for everyone. And it wasn't. I had so many pissed off people like asking me if I could help them, but it's like, it's like, you know, breaking a big glass jar and asking me to put it all back together. No, I'm sorry. You know, you've got to get rid of that. And I can size and design something that actually would work. I felt so sad. I felt bad for them. Like these people got duped. They got talked into something that was not right for them. Don't be one of those solar companies that do that. Don't do that to customers. It's wrong. There's no integrity in that. You can have full integrity and be upfront with your customer, tell them the truth, do the math, customize a solution, and you can know it'll work. No one will have to come up and clean up your mess later on. Talk a little bit about that. Have you experienced this as well? Am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good example. I mean, if we kind of take an analogy and just keep Tesla, I mean, somebody buys a Tesla car and they said, you know, I can drive from San Diego to Los Angeles on a single charge. But that same person is not going to be able to go from San Diego to San Francisco on a single charge. So they say, well, I have the same Tesla, but yeah, you're driving a much greater distance. So yeah, you're going to get, halfway and without any power and energy, and you're going to have a mad customer, or you get stuck in traffic and the battery is just going to discharge. So yeah, I mean, we see that a lot from people that they get sold the idea that they have a magic battery that one size fits all. They're going to hook it up to the systems and they're going to be independent. They're going to have unlimited backup power. And later on, when they need to use that battery, they realize they don't have enough energy. They don't have enough power to cover every single load they have. So it doesn't mean they cannot use Tesla. Yeah, they can still use it, but they need to size it properly. Maybe not one Powerwall. Maybe they need 3, 4, or 5. And yeah, a lot of people, they have the misconception that they can just go with a standard off-the-shelf battery, put it in, and that's going to solve everything. But yeah, as you said, energy in is energy out. So for some people, that standard solution might work, but that's not going to be what's going to work for everybody.
I like how you said that, and I agree. We are not bad-mouthing Tesla or any other brand. That was just my honest recounting of a majority of the stories where it was a Tesla salesperson that's just, you know, a salesperson. They have no clue how it all works. They're given a flyer and told to go make sales. And that's what happened, especially in the last 10, 15 years. I've seen it a million times, and I've seen it with other companies too. So not picking on Tesla. I know there's a lot of people in the business who sell Tesla and do size it correctly, and it still may be a good solution for you. And so not disparaging Tesla whatsoever. I think it's an amazing company, great people, great technology. But that said, Tesla is still selling the nickel, manganese, cobalt, lithium chemistry. That begs to start another conversation here. Rodolfo Garza, Simpliphi Power, Briggs and Stratton, joining us today on the Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent. Josh Brumm, your host here, energy storage manager here at Soligent. Lithium. Talk about that. Not all lithium is the same, Rodolfo. Nickel, manganese, cobalt, is a different type of lithium chemistry than what, say, Simpliphi Power is. Lithium iron phosphate, ferrous phosphate. Talk about the differences and the advantages to lithium iron phosphate versus the nickel, manganese, cobalt, lithium chemistry that some providers offer.
Yeah, you're correct, Josh. Yeah, a lot of people, they think, lithium ion batteries is only one type. I mean, it's a lithium battery. But yeah, there's a lot of different types of lithium. There's a lot of variation. like cell phones, laptops, they don't use iron phosphate or NMC or Tesla. I mean, they have lithium cobalt. So depending on the application, you have different lithium. Maybe you want a battery that has more energy, that has maybe like a shorter life, but you want to absorb more energy on a smaller space. Maybe like on a cell phone. Yeah, you need as much energy as you want on the smallest space. But when it comes to energy storage for a residential system, you don't really need space like to be the critical. You need a battery that's going to hold energy for a long time. It's going to be safe. It's going to last many, many years. It's going to be robust. It can take, different temperatures, a lot of different situations. So on the storage energy for residential system with solar, we see those two chemistry, nickel manganese cobalt, that's what Tesla has. And then we have lithium iron phosphate, that's what Simpliphi has on the battery. So one of the difference is safety. Lithium iron phosphate is the safest of the two chemistry. It's a more robust chemistry that is going to last you much longer. It's a safer chemistry that meets all of the flammability requirements. So when you're talking about safety, that's one of the biggest priority for us. Safety, if you're going to put your batteries inside your house, you want the safest chemistry, and that's going to be lithium iron phosphate. I mean, just look at the facts. I mean, that's the safest chemistry of all the lithium ions.
Yeah, thermal runaway cascade failure, not an issue with the lithium iron phosphate chemistry. Simpliphi Power, Briggs and Stratton, those batteries and safe solutions available right here at Soligent. Click on the link below to find out more. But yeah, exactly. And if you go look into the news, look up lithium fires, lithium battery fires. Google it. I dare you. And come back and email me if you find any of those fires that are having anything to do with lithium iron phosphate. I challenge you. It's very unlikely you'll find anything at all. Not that it's impossible, but at the end of the day, it's very, very unlikely that it's going to be anything but nickel, manganese, cobalt, lithium-based systems that are in those stories about fires. I just challenge you. Go to Google right now, type it in, find out for yourself. We're not lying to you. It's the truth. In addition to safety, life cycles. A lot of nickel, manganese, cobalt, lithium suppliers out there are claiming 4,000 life cycles at 90% depth of discharge or so. And they're saying that 4,000 life cycles, at the end of that 4,000 life cycles, you're looking at 70% of the remaining capacity. We all know that let's see here, assuming one cycle per day, 4,000 divided by 365, 10.95 years of life. For a customer that's going to buy a system that's supposed to last 25 years, they're making one investment. They're not expecting to buy another battery in 11 years. It's about throughput, Josh. No, it's not. If you're doing one cycle per day and you're at 70% of the remaining capacity at 10.95 years or 11 years, I can tell you that it is not going to hang out at 70% of that capacity for another 10 years. It's going to drop like a rock. And that means that customer needs to buy another battery, which means if they're buying that battery solution for return on investment on their PV array under NEM3 as an example, and they're cycling it every day, throughput doesn't matter. If you only have 50% or 70% or 30% or whatever at any point in time past that 11 years remaining in the battery available, throughput doesn't matter because you're now short that every day based on what you sized it for and what you bought it for up front. So throughput doesn't matter from that standpoint. Usable energy every day is what matters. And so that's why we size these things for one cycle per day. That's why we do it. And so if you're looking at 10.95 years, 4,000 cycles, that means after a 10-year warranty, the customer now has to go buy another battery. I mean, that's not what the ROI that people are putting in proposals pencils out. That's not being included, that second battery purchase, having someone come out and install it, the labor, etc. It's not being included. And it's kind of interesting how that fails 4,000 cycles a year after the warranty expires, right? It's just kind of interesting to me how that works out. Whereas you take a lithium iron phosphate chemistry battery versus nickel manganese cobalt, and the average industry expectation is about 8,000 cycles. So 8,000 at 80% depth of discharge. That means the battery is sized 20% larger than the daily usable kilowatt hour number that battery is needed for. So it's 20% oversized, so it's at 80% depth of discharge. So if you take 8,000 cycles divided by 365, that's 21.91 years of life before you're at 70% of the remaining capacity for most lithium iron phosphate suppliers, what they claim out there. That's not bad. That's a heck of a lot better than 10.95 years. And you get the safety in addition to all of those additional life cycles and longevity and more usable kilowatt hours over the long haul. But Simpliphi Power has taken this to another level. I don't know how you did it, but you're claiming at 80% depth of discharge. You've got the 10-year warranty like everyone. Thank you. But you're claiming, and this is on simpliphipower.com's website. Go there today. Check it out. I'm not blowing smoke. This is what they say. Rodolfo, you're here to back this up. 10,000 cycles at 80% depth of discharge. 10,000 divided by 365, 27.39 years of life. Holy frickin' smokes, Rodolfo. That's insane considering that people are buying a 25-year investment when they're thinking about putting that money down up front for that solar system or borrowing or whatever. Wow, that really pencils out for the long haul. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Simpliphi was one of the pioneers on the lithium iron phosphate batteries. We started building our batteries in Ohio, California in 2010. So 13 years ago, we started building lithium iron phosphate. A lot of the companies you see these days, they did not even exist when we already were building lithium iron phosphate batteries. So we have batteries on the field that already outlive our warranty, and they're still up and running. Yeah, you're right. We have the same warranty as everybody else, the 10-year warranty. But when it comes to cycle life, yeah, we have done a lot of testing, and one thing is the chemistry. It's lithium iron phosphate. That's a more robust chemistry. And going to 80% depth of discharge, that gives the battery that extra cushion that it can keep the battery healthy and it can run for many, many more cycles. The other thing is the cell form factor. We're one of the few that use cylindrical cells. So having a cylindrical cell makes the battery more robust because that cell is not going to change its shape or form through the whole cycle life. When you have, let's say, like a pouch battery, when you put many cycles on that battery, there's going to be some expansion on the thickness of the cell after years of being used, and that increases the internal impedance and it drops the capacity on the battery. Cylindrical cells, they keep the shape and integrity to the whole cycle life, and that's a big factor that helps our battery to retain capacity and give you that extended cycle life.
Yes, it's all about quality and form factor. Now, other companies are using cylindrical cells as well. Forgive me for putting you on the hot spot, but I would not be doing my job if I didn't ask you this. Why is it that Simpliphi Power is able to claim 10,000 cycles, whereas other companies who I know use a cylindrical cell as well are only claiming 8,000? Are they just under promising and over delivering, or is there a difference in construction, or does being USA made in Oxnard, California at the Simpliphi plant have something to do with it? I don't know. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, we really strive on having the best product. So we use top tier components on our battery. So we're selecting the highest quality of components for cells, PC boards, all the electronics, the cable. All of the engineering and assembly is done in our factory in Oxnard, California. So quality is a top priority. We don't really scatimate on using the best product available. So we're always using top quality components, and that will help us be able to provide that statement and say 10,000 cycles. And that's something that we have put the batteries on the lab. I mean, you made a calculation, it's like 27 years. So we haven't really had 27 years, but we have done a lot of different testing on the labs, doing continuous cycles, more than one cycle a day. We do fast cycling and a lot of testing. And I think having the top quality product is what helps us provide that cycle life.
Right on. Right on. Good answer. Good answer. I put you in the hot seat and you did a good job, man. You did a good job. Time is flying. I know you've got a lot of customers to help, and I thank you so much for being here. Rodolfo Garza, Simplify Power, Briggs and Stratton, available right here at Soligent. Rebates available for a limited time only. Ask your Soligent rep or click on the link below to find out more. Rodolfo, let's go into that a little bit. What options are available? You have 3.8 kilowatt hours. You have 4.9. You have your own 6 kW inverter as well. You can pair with a SolarArc. You've got some all-in-one systems for residential with the access, etc. Describe to our listeners and customers who are tuning in right now some of those different Simplify Power, Briggs and Stratton options available right now here at Soligent.
Okay, if we talk initially on the residential side, we have our core products, the 48-volt platform. So we got batteries that pretty much inverter agnostic. They can be tied to a lot of different inverters, charge controllers. And I mean, we have used our batteries with multiple systems. The standard product is a 3.8 kilowatt hour battery. We call that battery the Phi 3.8. It comes on 48 volt, but also on 24 volts. For more older systems, it's a great solution for lead acid replacement. People that had older systems with lead acid at a 24 volt platform, and they want to keep the existing system, they don't need to change the inverter or charge controller if that's still working. They can just switch to lithium ion, assuming that the system can be programmed accordingly to the parameters for lithium ion. So that is our core product, the Phi 3.8. On the same size, we got the same battery at 3.8 kilowatt hours in capacity with communication capability. So we call that battery amplified. So it has closed loop communication with the solar inverter. So if you have a solar system, you can create a more robust system on a closed loop with communication between battery and inverter. And then we have the bigger battery we call Simplify 4.9. Capacity is 4.98. So just shy of 5 kilowatt hours. That also comes with a closed loop communication with solar and also with a simplified inverter. This is an outdoor rated battery. So if you have a system where you want to have an outdoor installation, you can have batteries mounted outside the house. You don't have to have the batteries indoor. You can have batteries outdoor. This would be a great battery. If you're looking to do an outdoor system with the ordered 3.8, you need to have a cabinet that's going to be an outdoor rated cabinet that we have a couple options for that. We call the Boss 6, the battery-only storage system for up to 6 batteries, and the Boss 12, you can put up to 12 batteries. And you can stack multiple cabinets if you want to grow your system. So all of these batteries are expandable. You can start from a small system with 3-4 batteries, or you can have a system up to 100 batteries. and it's very easy to scale up and down to meet your energy and power needs. So those are three batteries you have on the 48-volt platform. For, as I said, smaller systems, people have outdoor older systems, the 12 volt, 24 volts. We have what we call a 1.4. It's a 1.4 kilowatt hour battery at 12 and 24. And we have the 730 watt hour on 12 and 24. So when it comes to the new ESS, we have developed, designed, engineered a new 6 kilowatt inverter. That's an auto-ready inverter. It comes with dual MPPT charge controller. So you can do a DC coupled system, AC coupled system, off-grid, grid-tied. It has a generator input, so you can incorporate a generator through the inverter. You can do AC couple with microinverter coming into the inverter, and you can stack multiple inverter for a bigger system, and it's also IP65 outdoor rated. And we have some all-in-one solutions, access cabinet. So that's an outdoor-ready cabinet that comes with inverter. It could be the Simpliphi 6 kW. It could be solar. It could be Snyder, and the batteries. So you have everything inside one cabinet, a full all-in-one solution for your system.
Yes. Yes. It's beautiful, isn't it? It looks good too, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good system. I mean, it looks pretty good. You can put it inside your garage. You can put it outside. You can stack multiple cabinets if you want to grow. And it's a good-looking product. It gives like a full all-in-one system. So, yeah, that's a great option. And then on the other side, we didn't talk much about it, but we have a different separate team on the commercial side. They can develop high voltage solutions that we can grow your system up to 2 or 3 megawatt hours, containerized solutions. But that's probably a big subject for a different discussion.
Yes, and we promised you, listeners, we've just been having so much fun. Rodolfo Garza from Simplify Power, Briggs and Stratton here with us, Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Click on the link below to get these Simplify Power solutions available at Soligent today. Click on the link below to find out more. We promised you folks that we would talk about off-grid. So before we go, let's go there. Off-grid. Off-grid means there is no grid, hence the name off-grid. Off-grid means that you have to provide all your own power on site. It means you need to oversize your PV array to account for all inefficiencies. There's no grid coming in. You need to maybe have a generator included. Not maybe, most likely, probably a generator included for those days when the sun is not shining because of clouds or fog or inclement weather, whatever it might be. And the most important thing, it really jives with everything else we're talking about. Usable kilowatt hours on a max use day is what we need to know to properly size it. So how do you do that with off-grid? A load evaluation. And that requires a little bit more homework. Go to simplifypower.com. They have their load calculator there that you can input the different appliances and things like that you have in your home or your off-grid cabin to figure out the exact size. So it is available there. Go find the load calculator available at Simplify Power, PHI, simplifypower.com. And use that resource. Contact us here at Soligent and we could double check the math and supply your solution. But ultimately, we need a list of the name and wattage for off-grid solar, for off-grid, the name and wattage of every electrical load that you want to run, and how many hours or minutes each of those loads might run on a max use day. Well, wait a minute, Josh. We're only there on Saturdays. Okay, then on Saturday, what's running and how long will each thing run for? I mean, we back and forth. Oh, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays. And no, okay. Let me restate this again. Max kilowatt hours of use on a max use day. So get us a list of the name and wattage of everything you want to run And again, it doesn't work on magic. So don't forget your phones, your chargers, your CPAPs. Don't forget the fan that might run. Don't forget even the radio that's on, whatever it might be. If you have a clock plugged in or you have a little Wi-Fi up, whatever it is at the off-grid cabin, you've got to, and nothing much. I just have a little tiny floor heater that we use. Okay, how many watts is that? You didn't include that in your load evaluation, sir or ma'am. Oh, it's only 2,000 watts. It's just a little tiny heater. Okay, 2,000 watts. How many hours are you going to run it for? You didn't include this in your original number. Yeah, but it's not a big deal. How much? Okay, here's why we're asking you this, sir or ma'am. 2,000 watts times how many hours? Oh, 8 hours. So 2,000 watts times 8 hours is 16 kilowatt hours. What? You mean that's why the battery system you quoted is larger or more expensive than the cabin itself or the tiny home itself? Yes, because it's energy in versus energy out. So this is why I'm saying this, just kind of adding a little sauce to it, exaggerating a bit just for effect. But Rodolfo, name and wattage of every electrical load. We need to know it all. How many hours or minutes each of those loads might run. We need to know it all. Don't skip out on anything. It can't come from magic. It has to come from somewhere if we're off-grid. We need an off-grid load evaluation to properly figure out someone's off-grid system or size of system that they need for their off-grid lifestyle. Correct? Right?
Yeah, that is right. I mean, when it comes to off-grid, it gets more critical because, you don't have the grid to tap into and power your loads. I mean, you're off-grid, you do a miscalculation, and you're going to be on the dark in the middle of the night. So sizing is going to be very, very critical so you can have power every day of the year, every hour of the day. And you need to consider worst-case scenario, every time. Because you don't want to have a system that 90% of the time or 90% of the year you have good power, enough energy, but then 10% of the year you're going to be having, losing power in the middle of the night. So it gets really, really critical. You want to take into account every load that is going to be used in the house and maybe overcompensate a little bit for unknowns because maybe you forget to add a vacuum cleaner. You didn't put it on your loads, but you need to do some cleaning. You plug up a vacuum cleaner that has a very high power draw and you spend the whole Saturday vacuum cleaning and you're just going to drain the battery. So it's always good to overcompensate if you're off-grid. Always take in consideration the worst-case scenario. And as you said, most likely you do need to have a generator because you never know. You can have several cloudy days. There's going to be a big storm and you don't get enough sun production for several days. So the generator is going to come handy for those days of low sun production.
And we've all seen this in the email we get back when we request a load evaluation. Our listeners are solar installers. A majority of solar installers out there are not battery specialists. They've been grid tie only all these years. They're just learning that this is a different animal. And I'm glad that we're able to be honest with people and teach them the math of how off-grid sizing actually works. We've had this happen a million times when we get a return email back on a load evaluation. The fridge, we have a fan and maybe 3 lights. How much? And you're just like, I know for a fact this dude is skipping out on like 50 things. He's not listing it all like he should. This is why people don't do this or have not become battery specialists, because it takes these extra calls and this extra effort and extra exploration to find all of the kilowatt hours we got to build it for. And a lot of this back and forth may take what is normally a 2-day sale and turn it into a 60-day sale process, because that's just what it takes to do it right. But if you learn how to do it right, you'll set yourself apart and you will be doing the customer right, and you'll be more successful. It's worth it. But this has happened all the time. Like, oh, I have and then even for battery backup, I've got 3 lights and a fridge and a freezer and 4 outlets. Okay, what are you going to plug into those outlets? Are you going to plug in a 10 watt phone charger? Or are you going to plug in a 2,000 watt space heater, right? It's you can't just say, I've got 4 outlets. How much? What are you going to plug into those outlets? And how long is it going to run for? This all matters, right, Rodolfo?
Oh, yeah. Every single load, needs to be taken into account for the equation. If you want to size the system properly and make sure you have power anytime you need it, you need to take into account every load. And as you said, an outlet, you can put many different things in the outlet, a low power consumption, a very high power consumption device. So always consider what's the worst case scenario so you're always covered and have enough energy for every time you need it.
We learned a lot today. Rodolfo Garza, expert, friend, appreciate you so much. Rodolfo Garza, Simplify Power, and Briggs and Stratton, available here at Soligent. Click on the link below. We learned about energy storage, why it matters, how to size energy storage to get your customers a return on investment under the new NEM3 in California, what that means. We ran through the math of how to figure that out. Again, don't worry about it. You can rewind to listen again, or you can just email me, storage@soligent.net, and I'll be happy to get on a call with you and your team, bring Rodolfo in. We can do a training so that you can, really hone those skills and get great at this as well. We're not going to leave you behind. We're here for you. We talked about emergency load battery backup, how to size energy storage solutions there, whole house backup, setting realistic expectations in the sales process, and how to properly size commercial industrial systems for those customers' needs, in addition to off-grid system sizing and what it really takes to make that actually happen for your customers. We learned a lot today, Rodolfo. Good job, man.
No, thank you for having me, Josh. And it's always great to have a conversation with you and your audience. And I also want to take the opportunity and let your customers know, Soligent knows that there's always promotion that we're running through Soligent. So talk to your sales rep. We're always through the whole year running new promotions, some rebates. So talk to your team, talk to Soligent, and find out about the different promotions. And also for the installers out there, we also want to invite you to join our Elite IQ Installer program. You get any additional rebates, promotion. You get access to our tech support team. You have a direct line. So there's a lot of different perks to belonging to the Elite IQ Installer program. A lot of benefits. So go to our website, click on that link, and be one of our elite installers.
Simplify Power, Briggs and Stratton, Energy Storage Solutions. Rodolfo Garza, thank you so much for being on the show today. Appreciate you, brother. Hang on the line for engineers. Thank you so much. So
thank you.
It's available. Click on the link below. Click on the link below, or email me, storage@soligent.net, and we'd be happy to connect you with a solution from Simplify Power today. Make it happen. Click on the link below. Also, for more training, storage@soligent.net, and we can set up a personalized training to teach you and your team how to be successful selling storage and selling the right storage solutions to your customers under NEM3, or maybe it's off-grid, or the battery backup up in a fire zone, or whatever it might be. We can help you. Reach out today, storage@soligent.net. Thanks again for listening. Every single week, experts from around the world. Thank you again, Simplify Power, Briggs and Stratton, for lending us Rodolfo Garza today, expert. Thank you so much, my friend Rodolfo. And for you listening and choosing Soligent, choosing us for your renewable energy systems and solutions. Find out more. Click on the link below. Become a Soligent dealer today. I'm Josh Brumm, Energy Storage Manager here at Soligent. Also as well, host of the Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas.
We at Soligent are incredibly excited to announce our partnership with GivePower. Well, we wouldn't be here today talking to you about GivePower if it wasn't for our partners, LoanPal. They've been with GivePower since the beginning. Their contribution has given water and light to countless people across the globe. We are truly inspired by LoanPal's dedication to the cause. Something LoanPal said really strikes a chord regarding GivePower, that this is something that's more than money. It's what makes making money more worthwhile. In a lot of ways, that's synonymous with what we're doing here at Soligent.
Here's how you can help.
What we've decided to do is compound LoanPal's contribution by donating to GivePower on every order paid via our direct pay program through LoanPal. That's right. Every time your company uses your LoanPal portal to pay Soligent for material, 5 people get clean drinking water for a full year.
Together we're stronger.
Together, we can choose to be extraordinary by giving to people who live outside our reach. To us, this means a lot.
Soligent's purpose meets GivePower's mission. Join the impact. Soligent, Solar Engine. SolarEngineSolutions.com. Go there to find out more. CALSA, C-A-L-S-S-A, stands for California Solar and Storage Association. Join over 700 companies, including Soligent, and become a CALSA member today. Go to www.calsa.org/join and enter Soligent as the discount code and receive 10% off your first year. Membership starts as low as $500 per year and covers you and your entire company. You can pay in monthly installments or once per year. Why join CALSA? For over 40 years, CALSA has been fighting for your rights in California. If you're an installer or contractor in California, it's CALSA working behind the scenes on your behalf to protect the solar and energy storage business you and your companies rely on each day. Imagine the utilities are totally unchecked without CALSA fighting for you. CALSA fights for your rights and also provides resources like direct one-on-one support from their experts to help you with your questions, navigating everything from NEM3 to battery fire code compliance. CALSA will help you and your company to stay up to date on the latest policy changes that impact the California solar and storage market and your bottom line. Joining CALSA helps to fund their work to lobby for cutting solar and storage red tape, pass pro-solar laws, and to defend your business from attacks. Become a CALSA member today at www.calsa.org/join and enter the discount code Soligent to receive 10% off your first year. CALSA is fighting for you and your business. Join over 700 companies like Soligent and make a difference in the California solar and energy storage market today.